it's a very simple presentation, but so because my English might be not too clear, I prefer to show all the text on the screen so you can understand everything said. So first of all, thank you very much for organizing once again this conference, and thank you for allowing me to take part in it. So last year, I presented a test, a paper on the very same topic about digitalization. So I argued that digitalization that we can present two theses on digitalization, and the first one is that digitocracy, a de facto government of Silicon Valley engineers that rules the world, at least in a sense. And the second thesis was that this kind of government, this digitocracy, tends to reduce man to an animal digitalis, tends to animalize man. So, and I think we can present 5 features of this animal digitalis, that this person is addicted to technology, is very emotional because technology needs emotions in order to engage. The person is also transparent because is understood by the machine in a way that the person cannot even understand. The fourth feature is that the person is stuck in a busy loneliness. I say a busy loneliness because the person is always active, and it needs to remain active in the face of technology. And so it's busy in that sense, but it's stuck in the present because technology allows only, at least technology as it is today, need us to be always thinking in the present tense, let's say. So the rise of this animal digitalis was my main concern, but the question I try to answer today is, as the power of digital tech companies increases in this time of global crisis, during the pandemic that right now is hopefully things are getting better, but during the pandemic the importance of big tech was huge, and the power they have has increased. So this becomes a stronger concern. So two initial questions should be asked, I think. The first is, can we overcome this digitocracy, this kind of de facto government or unofficial government that they have? And if we can, we will get rid of this kind of animalization that is spread throughout the world, and this animal digitalis. So, and if we can do that, how can we overcome digitalization as it is today, to achieve a different kind of relationship with technology, information, and communication. So I think my first idea is that digitalization is or has to be a political decision. So we need as people, as countries, to reflect and discuss what kind of relationship with technology we want, and if we want to certain big tech companies to decide if a president has an account on Twitter or not. That is not a problem of big tech. It's not a private concern, but it's a public concern that we need as democracies to discuss. So I think it's a political decision, and if the states do nothing in the face of the power of big tech, it's because they want it, and it's because they many times they obtain benefits from them, especially in the fight against terrorism. They are very useful because they know a lot about everything. So so my idea is that this is not a political necessity, so we need to discuss this politically and try to achieve a better try to solve this problem in the best way. So I think it's a matter of common good that we can decide. And there are few events that can make us be to recover hope in the face of this problem. There are three events, in fact. Two events took place in 2020. The first was that the US House of Representatives, the Antitrust Commission, presented an antitrust report on big tech, on Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. So that I think that's good. That's good news. The second is The Social Dilemma, the documentary film that was launched by the Center for Human Technology, that is led, is directed by Tristan Harris, and it was watched by thousands of people, and it shows all the harms that these big tech companies are causing in our societies. So this Tristan Harris used to work in Google. So, but there's a third event that is very recent. It happened 2 weeks ago, indeed. Is that the Wall Street Journal launched 5, I think there are more common, but I think there are 4 journal articles on Facebook that are the results of a research of I think many years, and they have this new research on Facebook has been called the new Cambridge Analytica. So we think of the impact that the Cambridge Analytica had in the reputation of Facebook. So probably this Facebook files will hopefully have the same impact. This Facebook files show that Facebook knows the harms they are causing in society and in individuals. And they know and they research about it in their internal, let's say, they have internal people that is working in that work secretly on the harms they do. So they know their harms they do, and they have done very little to solve the problem. So the harms are, for example, the key mental health problem with Instagram. Another problem is the use of Facebook in order to make people think that they are going to be hired for a job and then make them slaves. So Facebook knows that these kind of things are happening on their site. They do very little. So the problem is huge, and the Facebook files also talk about the new algorithm that is used in Facebook. They changed the algorithm in 2018. So this algorithm is improving the problem of misinformation and hate speech. So the algorithm promotes that people quarreling on social media. So the more extreme the content, the more possibilities you have to reach many people. So if you are let's say peaceful and if you respect other people in your comments or in your videos or whatever you post, it is much less possible that your post is going to reach many people. So this algorithm is basically destroying societies from the inside. So maybe if we have more, let's say, peaceful societies, the harm is not so strong. But in those countries that are strong ethnic problems or religious problems, we might think, how bad is this for society, and then real violence on the streets. This is promoting outrage for the sake of earning money. So hopefully this is going to be it will lead a change. I hope so. I hope so. Because I'm deeply concerned about this. So I have not much time left, but how to reclaim the digital environment for the common good. I won't present real answers or definitive answers. I think it's so difficult, so I just present some of the ideas that I have found on different authors. I will skip this part of the problems. I think basically the problem is the basic problem to regulate, when we want to regulate social media, is that states are powerless in the face of social media, and they have given, let's say, the power by doing very little to control these huge big tech companies. So so I will skip that. So 9 proposals that I have found on different books on the topic. So there are three kinds of proposals. Three, let's say we can say there are proposals about data, proposals about technological design, and markets finally. So I present 9. So proposals about data. The first is from a Spanish colleague. He says that we need to declare that personal big data in the hands of this surveillance capitalist was stolen. And the idea is that basically follows Susanna Zuboff, surveillance capitalism book, and she says that our data were stolen and we didn't know that they were taking it from us. So we need to declare that this is illegal, and we cover at least let's say first say that they do not own our data, and it's illegal that they have it in mass scale. So after that, there are two different options after that declaration. The first is, sorry for the English in the text. So the first is by Clarissa Bellis, that is adjunct professor in Oxford, and she says we need to delete completely big data. A second proposal is, well, let's declare that big data is a common heritage of humanity, as it is nature. It's our common heritage. Sorry. So and trust big data to some global authority. So these are the two possible options after this declaration. Completely deleting big data because it's bad that is around there. And the second option is to declare big data a common heritage of humanity and give it to some global authority. I think the problem with this, with the second, with the first, we might lose the possibility of using well big data for our for good purposes. The problem of the second, of giving big data to a global authority, is that how will be used? How will that big data be used by this global authority? Are they going to use it for the common good? Are we becoming a kind of global China, which we might not like, because it's despotic regime. So a further idea is that we implement fiduciary duties with data. So you have a duty of care as the, let's say, with your doctor have a duty of care of your data about your illness or whatever they have on you. So that might be an idea after, let's say, taking from them the big data that they stole from us. And afterwards, what kind of relationships we need to have, so based on fiduciary duties. So in terms of design, two ideas. The first is outlaw anti-political algorithms. So these algorithms that are outrage algorithms that are making our societies more polarized need to be outlawed, because they do a lot of harm to our societies, and they and doing this is not against free speech, but on the contrary, it will be good for free speech, because opinions will become equal again. Today, with this kind of algorithms, the opinions that are more extreme, that are more hateful, are more are promoted by platforms. So I think that might be an idea. The second is outlaw manipulative design. So basically, likes and one-click share. These bottoms were introduced in 2009, and they changed the whole landscape of digitalization. So they were a very good idea in order to make people addicts to platforms. And this idea of outlaw manipulative design is interesting, that in the Facebook files, from the inside Facebook, one of the proposals from the inside, from an independent, let's say, research inside Facebook that finally wasn't followed by Fackelberg and the people that managed the company. But the idea was to precisely get rid of sharing, the sharing with one click, because it's very bad for the spread of misinformation and outbreaks and all of that. So they even inside Facebook say that. So it's kind of very significant. So about markets, very briefly, some ideas were expropriate platforms. But I think that's the problem, is that maybe this huge power will be in the hands of the state. Maybe it's too much power. Other idea that came from the co-founder of Facebook was dividing up big tech companies, but it's probably a bad option, because we will have more big tech companies that are trying to influence, manipulate us. So there will be more market for manipulation, which is, I think, a bad idea. Another idea is keeping Apple on the good side, let's say, because Apple, that is directed by Tim Cook, is usually advocates for privacy. So of course they sell that as well. So they can make a distinction between themselves and especially Facebook. So maybe Apple can, and they are doing that right now. They are limiting the power of Facebook with some decisions about especially the App Store, and yeah, that might be an idea. So I think I will stop in here in order to give more, not to steal more time. But this is very briefly some of the ideas. And thank you very much. I will stop here. Cheers.